Hello, 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 Facebook. Hello, Instagram. I am coming on this evening to talk to you and share with you 8 business mistakes that expose you to liability. This is a danger. When we talk about brand protection is definitely connected to legal protection. And so, because if the business goes down, what brand you got to protect? So, let's jump into 8 business mistakes that expose you to liability, which is a danger. Make sure you share this, okay? Now, before I jump in really quick, I just want to introduce myself for those who don't know me. And even if you do know me, maybe you know me from a past season, so I'm going to reintroduce myself again before we jump into our topic tonight. I am Chayla Jackson. I'm the Purpose Police, here to serve and protect Kingdom CEOs so that you are armed and legally dangerous to protect his business and your business too. I'm also a trademark and business attorney. I have my own law firm. I'm a business owner, and we're gearing up for our called and covered brand protection bootcamp for Kingdom CEOs. We're going to get into it, spiritual, legal, and business. And so make sure you grab your seat. Seats are limited because I'm going to be coaching, training, and even giving feedback on contracts for VIPs, because we want to be ready, Kingdom CEOs, for what God is about to do. And so you can register for that at onedangerousceo.com/events. All right. So let's jump into tonight. And look, you might want to tag some folks in the comments, because I'm about to tell you some mistakes that you don't want to make that's going to expose you to liability. Mistake number one in business that exposes you to liability, and it's a danger. It is you choosing a name and launching your business, a brand, your signature course, conference, your podcast, a product, a service, and even your signature framework. You branded it. You loved the name and you launched it, but you did not do a trademark legal clearance search. Now, you probably like, what is that? A trademark legal clearance search is the legal search that attorneys like myself, we do to make sure you can legally use that name, that mark. Why? And some people think, well, I don't need a trademark. Baby, this is why you do it. Because whether you get a trademark or not, whether you register or not, people are covering their names. People are locking it down, which means you can launch a name and it literally can be infringing on somebody else's trademark, even how creative it is. And so that means that you can invest in building a brand that, whether it's in 3 months or whether it's 10 years, somebody can come and say cease and desist. They can sue you, and now you have to rebrand. Everything you invested wiped out, all because you did not do a trademark legal clearance search. Now, you may be wondering, well, how are we even supposed to know how to do that? Guess what? I'm training and I'm coaching and I'm teaching how to do it inside the brand protection boot camp. Oh, that's right. Especially for my VIPs, I'm going to walk you through it and I'm going to coach you how to do it, because this is so important. I've done it myself years ago when I started my law firm. I had to search my tagline. So my tagline for my law firm is protect your brand, build a legacy, secure your wealth. I wanted to say secure your brand. And then I did a trademark legal clearance search. Exactly what I'm going to train the VIPs in the brand protection bootcamp to do. And I'm going to share how to do that for the regular in the training as well. So I show you everywhere you search. Why did I search that? And I searched it because another law firm already had a trademark. If I would have used it, I would have been in legal trouble. We don't have time. We don't have money to waste in this economy, okay? And so let me share this with you. Just because the name is available for the domain search, just because it's available in social media when you did your search, just because it was available when you went to register your business with the Secretary of State, that does not mean that name is free to use when it's under trademark law, okay? So that's mistake number 1, and it is a common mistake. And I have a client who literally saved thousands of dollars just by investing in us doing a trademark legal clearance search. Okay. All right. So that's mistake number 1. Again, make sure you get your seat in the brand protection bootcamp at onedangerousceo.com/events. Mistake number 2. If you've been following me for a while, you have heard me say this. Do not put your personal name at the top of a business contract unless it's like one exception that I usually make. But the biggest thing is if you have an LLC or corporation, your personal name should never be at the top of a business contract unless you want to be on the hook for if anything goes wrong. Whoever is at the top of the contract is in the contract. And so one of the biggest mistakes for business owners is that because you don't know, you don't understand the identity that comes with the business when you create the business, that you and your business are not the same when you have an LLC or a corporation. If you put your name at the top of a contract, baby, if they sue you, something goes wrong, everything that you worked hard for, your home, your car, your 401k, your IRA, now that it's on the hook. Your LLC does not protect you because you are the party to the contract, not the business. So that mistake right there. If the contract is for $20,000, guess who on the line for $20,000? That's you. Look, prayer is powerful, and I believe God could shut it down with prayer. But wouldn't it be so much better if you just knew how to be called and covered from the beginning because you had this knowledge? Okay, that's mistake number 2. Mistake number 3, for my folks, my kingdom CEOs who listen up, y'all doing DIY contracts. You doing your best now. Look, when I started, I had my photography business, I was doing my contracts too. But here's the thing. For those of you who are putting representations and warranties in your contracts, you're guaranteeing, you representing, and you're putting yourself, your business, and you're representing and warranting things for your business. Let me tell you how this is a mistake. You are literally giving additional legal rights to the other party to sue you if you breach these representations and warranties. It's an additional right that you're giving them. You don't need to represent and warrant anything in your contract. You drafting it. But there's a reason why you would want them to represent and warrant, okay? And we're going to cover that in the brand protection bootcamp because there are some things that you want them to guarantee. You want, especially if you're doing B2B, business to business, you want them to guarantee that they are a business in good standing with the state. Why? Because if they're not in good standing with the state, why are you doing business with them? That means they're not keeping up with their legal compliance. They're not in good standing to do business. Come on now. Come on. That means that LLC has probably is on the way to being forfeited. They don't have no business. They doing it as a sole proprietor. You need to know this because if they're not keeping on top of that, what else they not keeping on top of? That's mistake number 3. Mistake number 4. I don't know who came in and just left out real quick, but I hope you ain't doing this mistake. It's mixing business and personal money. Business and personal. It's called commingling funds. How does this expose you to liability? If you have an LLC or corporation and you begin to mix your money, business and personal, guess what the law says? The law says that if you get sued, your liability, your LLC ain't gonna protect you because you have essentially eroded the protection that you would have had when you start treating your business money and personal money as your personal pocketbook. We don't need to use your LLC for liability protection. Now they can pierce what's called the corporate veil. And instead of the business being on the hook, now they can reach beyond and reach your personal money and hard work. All because you made this mistake of mixing business and personal, dipping into your business account for personal reasons, treating it like it's your personal business account. That is a huge mistake and it exposes you to liability. So that's mistake number 4. Mistake number 5 is not having a contract in place for your graphic designers, your photographers, your videographers, and other people that you hire to create things for you. They're creating. And see, when you don't understand copyright law, look, I posted something today that says, are you the weapon formed against you? Sometimes it ain't the devil, it's you. It's your ignorance of the law. It is your decision not to learn what you need to learn. Because when you don't take the step and you don't invest in learning, and here's the thing, the legal ain't hard, it's just who you learn it from. The legal is not hard, it's who you're learning from. And the reality is that if you learn from the right person, you gonna get it. But because we shy away from the legal for whatever reason, or you think if I hire an attorney, they're gonna handle it. A lot of this, what we're covering, this is stuff that takes place in business. By the time you do this, when you hire the lawyer, we in litigation mode. We in trying to fight mode, not in preventive mode. If you just choose the preventative measure of learning and getting yourself in the called and covered brand protection bootcamp for Kingdom CEOs, this is where you learn. Because once you make the mistake, now you paying attorneys like me and Lane Law over here in Instagram. Hey girl, you paying us big money just to fix it. And let me tell you, I don't do litigation. I don't do litigation right now. Okay, I done had my time in the courtroom. I don't do litigation right now. So that means you're gonna pay somebody else to do it, because I prefer to be on the preventative side. So these are business mistakes that if you make this mistakes, it's going to expose you to liability. And so brand protection is connected to your legal protection and how you do business. Legal protection, brand protection starts with you. So are you the weapon that's being formed against you? It ain't the devil, it's you. It's your ignorance of the law, and you are supposed to know it. Okay, so number 5. Copyright law. If you don't have a contract in place for your graphic designers, photographers, videographers, the people creating work for you, and even if you have a contract in place, but you don't have the right contract language, baby, you don't own none of that. You done paid them and everything. You don't own it though. Oh, you didn't pay for it, but you still don't own it. Come on now. See, when we talk about possessing the land, we talk about property, we talk about ownership. If you don't understand the power of a contract for brand protection, you don't own those copyrights. And so here's the thing, why your copyrights are so important is because the Bible says a good man, a righteous man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. How you gonna leave an inheritance if you leave the God ideas unprotected? Because see, Dr. Seuss, his books are still making money 30 years after his death and bringing in millions, baby. Millions. And we see it all the time. We see musicians, the creativity is still bringing in money. But how in the world are you going to do that if you don't own it? That means if you don't own it, they can come back and sue you for copyright infringement. Oh, because y'all just, let me break this down. Copyright infringement ain't back in school, you used to be able to use it and quote your sources. That's not what happens in the business world, baby. You use it without permission, I can come after you and I can sue you, because that's what gives me the right under copyright law. See, when you armed and legally dangerous with the law, baby, you can shut some things down. You can go after people who steal your brand. You become confident to build and launch what God has given you, because now you understand the law. You're weaponized and you know strategies. That's why in the brand protection boot camp that's taking place that we're going to kick off on June 26th, that's why you're going to walk away with a brand protection playbook. Strategies, baby, offensively and defensively. So there's no more fear and how you grow and scale the business God has ordained for you to do. You don't have to shrink back in fear no more. What if they steal my stuff? You gonna have a strategy in place that you can execute when you need to. Come on, weaponize, okay? That's what makes you armed and legally dangerous, when you know the law and how to use it and strategy when. Okay, so not having a contract in place under copyright law, you don't own the graphics, you don't own the brand photos, you don't own the videos, you don't own none of that. And even if you have a contract in place, it has to have the right language. That's why we're going to be practicing contract drafting and going through copyright and copyright licensing so that you can put the right language in the contract and understand how you transfer intellectual property rights. And we're going to practice drafting. And if you're a VIP, not only do you get to practice drafting, but you also get to submit your contract for feedback to see if you did it right. Because I'm pretty sure, y'all, if y'all doing your own contracts, you don't have an attorney looking over your shoulder telling you did that right, you did that right, you did that right, you did that right. You would have to hire an attorney. But see, when you in the boot camp, in the VIP, oh, you gonna get feedback if you submit your contract. Okay, and I'm gonna show you how to tighten all that up. So you right, you good, you armed and legally dangerous. Okay. All right. So that's number 5. If you're like, I need to be in this boot camp, Chayla, how do I get into this boot camp? It is called and covered brand protection bootcamp for Kingdom CEOs. We kick off on June 26th, guys, and you can register. You can sign up at onedangerousceo.com/events. You want to secure your seat. There's a limited amount of seat because this is not just information. You can get information on the internet. This is legal training and coaching. I'm coaching you through how to think, how to understand this, how to apply this, because at the end of the day, by the time you hire an attorney, it's usually too late. And so you need to know how to do this now, not later. Okay? All right. So mistake number 6. You don't have no website privacy policy or terms and conditions, or the ones you do ain't it. You probably may be thinking, oh, I don't need no website privacy policy. That's not required. It's legally required. It's legally required. If you are in business, you are collecting what is called personal identifiable information, PII. You are collecting data, personal data. What that means is you're collecting names, email addresses, and most likely, especially if you're in business making sales, credit card information. Under data protection and privacy laws, you are legally required to have a privacy policy as everywhere you collect information. So even if you don't have a website, but you have a landing page, even if you don't have a website, but you have an email sign up, even if you don't have a website, but you have a shopping cart, you have an online store where they can shop and check out. You need to have a privacy policy because that is your notice of how you collect data, their data, how you use it, how you store it, and what their rights are. And so it's not just, when we talk about this privacy policy and data, it's not just compliance with U.S. laws. There are states that are coming up with their own laws, but you also have to comply with the laws globally. Why? Because if somebody from Africa, somebody from the UK, somebody overseas signs up on your list, we're in a digital world. Anybody can come on. Now you are subject to their laws immediately. And so you have to be compliant with data privacy laws. Because if something happens, somebody hacks your account, there's a breach, a data breach, and you have that data is lost. 1, you're going to need to report it. Some of you probably don't even know that you're going to have to report it. And then 2, if they find out you didn't have a privacy policy, that may actually cause you to be exposed to fines and fees because you weren't even compliant in the smallest thing that you could have done. And so you need a privacy policy, and it needs to be detailed. And your privacy policy also needs to have those essential contract terms. It needs to have essential contract terms. And so we're going to cover that in the boot camp. I'm going to take you through the essential contract terms you need to have. And I'm going to break it down so you understand it and why you put this in there. Because when you understand why, it's gonna boost your confidence to be able to negotiate and even understand strategy of why you don't put it in some contracts, but you put it in this one, yours. Okay. You also need terms and conditions. How many of you have client portals or you have a blog as people can leave comments? There are certain things that you want to have terms and conditions or terms of use, terms of service on your website. What are the rules? So your website or wherever you are doing business is your virtual home. What are the rules for your home? The terms and conditions or terms of service, terms of use, they're all interchangeable. This is where you specify your house rules. This is my intellectual property. You can't steal my intellectual property. This is the client portal. The client portal belongs to me. I can revoke your access in any time. There are reasons why you do that because a privacy policy and terms of conditions or terms of use are contracts, which means when you have a contract with your website visitor, if something goes wrong, they literally have a right to sue you. Come on. That's why we got to have it. We got to get it right. Have your house in order. Okay. And for those of you who are like, well, I got a website privacy policy, terms and conditions. My question is for you is when was the last time you updated it? When's the last time you updated it? Because these have to be updated, okay, periodically, which I recommend annually. All right. So that's number 6. Number 7 is registering your business in a different state than where you live. We're talking 8 business mistakes that expose you to liability, the dangers. And number 8 is registering your business in a different state than where you live. Some of us, you may have moved, but you didn't move your business registration. Why does that expose you to liability? Here's why. Legally, you are required to register your business where you do business. The principal place of business is what it's called, is where business actually takes place. That's like headquarters. And so most of us, we may work from home. So home is your headquarters. So if you are doing business in one state, but your business is registered in another state, now you're subject to 2 states' laws. But in one state, you're operating as a sole proprietor instead of under your legal protection, which means when it comes to making sales and sales tax, and depending if your state is a destination or origin based state, you're really originating sales in the state you live in, not in the state your business is registered in, which means it's possible that you are paying more money, and you may be, if they ever find out, you owe sales tax to the state you live in, not in the state you registered in. And for some of you, right, you hear, oh, you should register in this state and this state because for whatever reason. The reality is it increases the amount of money you pay because you have to pay for a registered agent in that state. You have to have an actual presence in the state where you register. And so if you don't have that presence, then you can end up paying more money that you didn't have to pay if you just have your business in the state that you actually do business in. And so how do you do that? Well, depending on the state you're in, if you move and do something like that, some states allow for you to, I'm sure, I don't want to say it's convert, but some states allow for you to actually transfer. They have these rules that they actually respect the laws of the other state and will allow for you to just move it over easily. But not all states have that. And so that means that you would have to go through the process of setting up your business in the new state and closing it down in the old state. And for many states, you may have to notify any creditors you have of what's going on. Now, it's not that complicated because you're not creating really a new company. You're just shifting it. So the company stays the same. You're just shifting it. And so when you shift it, you actually don't have to get a new EIN number because all you did was just change the location. You didn't change the business. Okay. All right. So that was mistake number 7, our last mistake for the night. And if you are still watching, I'm so glad that you're still here because, baby, I see this all the time, y'all. And, it's a danger. It's literally putting a target on your back. Literally putting a target on your back. And so mistake number 8, the business mistake that you can make that expose you to liability is using images that you find off Google, images that you get off the internet, and images that got the watermark on it. Every time you do this, you are committing copyright infringement because you do not own the rights. This is not high school. This is not where you could use anything because it's not for educational purposes. You're using it in business, commerce, money, y'all. That means that if you don't have the right, a license, and that license is not for commercial use, business, you are in violation of the law. And because you're in violation of the law, that means that the original owner of that image can sue you. And if they had a copyright, that means they get statutory damages. And so copyright infringement is strict liability. The moment you took that photo and used it was the moment you violated the law. And that person doesn't have to negotiate with you. They don't have to do nothing. They can literally send a cease and desist and demand you cough up the money. And so I remember a couple of years ago, a woman got online and she was so upset because it's not just you. You also have to make sure your web designers don't use images that they don't have the rights to as well. Somebody designed her website, put a photo up there that they did not have the license to. And you know what happened? The owner of that photo said, you have to take it down and you have to pay me $10,000. There's no defense to it. Even if somebody else put it on her website, it was her website, which means that mistake cost her $10,000. Do you have $10,000 just to give away? These are 8 business mistakes that expose you to liability. These are just 8. There's more. Oh, there's more. But these are just 8. And so look, brand protection and legal protection start with you. And so as kingdom CEOs, we need to be in position and ready when God calls us, when the new opportunity comes, when the prophecy comes to pass, when elevation and promotion comes. We need to be ready. Our legal house needs to be in order. It's not just enough to be called. We need to be covered legally. And so if you're unsure, if you're like, I'm not sure if I have all the pieces together, I'm not sure if my brand is really protected, then I invite you to join me in the Called and Covered Brand Protection Bootcamp for Kingdom CEOs. Information you get on the internet is not the same as knowledge, and is not the same as the wisdom of knowing the strategy of how to use it. Your business is not the same as somebody else's business. Information is just information, and folks are finding out the hard way and losing money and time because they thought I had the information and they realized it was more to it than what they thought. Don't be like them. And so you can go to onedangerousceo.com/events and you get in, register, get in. You're going to have access to all of the replays. And it is live. This is a live training and coaching. It's boot camp, y'all. It's boot camp season. It's time to get ready because you don't want to be in position and you get the big opportunity and your contract ain't really contracting. Your contract ain't really holding up. And then you walk away and you left money on the table because you don't own your copyrights. Your brand wasn't protected. And the thing that you needed to take your business to the next level, you didn't secure in the contract. Because there's just certain things you just don't know. And so let's get ready. All right. So this is 8 business mistakes that expose you to liability. These are dangers. And this is just 8. I haven't even really there's more, okay? But these are just 8. If you're doing any of them, hopefully just stop. Just stop, okay? And my Kingdom CEOs, it's time to be called and covered. So make sure you get in the boot camp. Share this video, tag Facebook. Look, they got the 30-day rules now, so just know it's going to be on our YouTube channel at One Dangerous CEO on YouTube at One Dangerous CEO. And again, that's it for tonight, y'all. I'm Chayla Jackson, the Purpose Police, here to serve and protect Kingdom CEOs so that you are armed and legally dangerous to protect his business and your business too. And this is 8 business mistakes that expose you to liability, the dangers in business, because brand protection is connected to legal protection. And so this is all gearing up for our Called and Covered Brand Protection Bootcamp for Kingdom CEOs so that you are ready when God calls you to the next level, when he opens that door, when he opens up the windows of heaven and starts pouring out those blessings, that you are positioned, you are ready, and you are confident to build and take the opportunity to go through that door. Because you are covered legally. All right, y'all have a good night.